Hey, Scott Bruder here. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do a bunch of upgrades on an older computer. And it's not going to be a big, expensive set of upgrades. It's going to be a really modest set. Um, we are going to upgrade to a Gigabyte motherboard and support all the way up to 14th gen Intels. This one here is the DDR4 model, going cost effective, but still lots of performance, especially today. So we'll be putting this into a system. We're going to be installing two 16 gig sticks of Kingston Fury RAM, also DDR4. We're going to be installing a secondary hard drive for storage. This one's got 8 terabytes of Barracuda. It's a reliable, hard drive. The primary in this thing is going to be an onboard 2 terabyte NVMe. This is it was a SN770. The processor running this whole thing is going to be it's a year or two old. It's an i7-12700K. This is the one with the integrated graphics card. The F model doesn't have the integrated graphics, but I figure if you're going to get yourself a decent chip with a bit of a lifespan to it, get the one with the integrated. And of course, the K is unlocked. So if your motherboard supports overclocking, go for it. I don't plan on overclocking at all. Cooling this whole beast is going to be Cooler Master Hyper 212 Spectrum V3. Why? Because it's really good, and the price was even better. So that's what we plan on doing. So you've seen some of my other videos. There's not a lot of flash on this. I don't do a lot of good editing. I don't believe in editing. This video is going to go all up there, just raw. If anyone's interested in editing my videos for me, let me know. There's there's some value to it, I guess is the best way to say it. So my next question is that I want to bring to the table is, where are we putting all these parts? What are we doing with it? Well, I can't even get that on camera. It is a Cooler Master case from... Can you guess it? It's 10 years old. This system has got a 2nd gen i7 processor in it, and we're going to swap it all over. This machine has been a long-term workstation for many years. It's done quite well, and we're gonna just give it a whole bunch of new guts. So we have thermal take power supply. Let's see if we can get a cloth to wipe that down a bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the system is off, but I am going to turn off the power supply. Make sure it's off. It's off. It's off on the power supply. Always check the power switch. So we can tilt that up a bit. Yeah, right there. Make sure it's turned off. And then I'm going to leave it in there, because what this is going to do, this is going to provide a ground for the chassis, any of the power cables that are going through it, and the power supply itself, which is going to really kind of help out if we run into a situation with electrostatic discharge and all that other stuff. So, first things first, let's tear down what's going on here. Okay, so I always like to start with power and then go from there. So we've got a couple power connectors that are going to the PCI cards. First one was a 4-pin Molex that went to, well, I'm sure that's a USB 3.1 card. We got a 6-pin that connects to the graphics card. We follow back around, we've got a 24-pin over here that connects the main power feed to the motherboard. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And then someone was nice enough to wrap the additional power connector to through the back of the chassis. So we're going to go through and just pull that out. Now, the fan is wrapped nicely around all that, so I'm just going to disconnect the fan for the CPU. And then I'm also seeing that we've got the power cord for the rear case fan. Oh, and we ran into our first contender, zip tie. Okay, so let's see what we've got to snip that. Of course, my snips are in the drawer that the camera's in front of. Well, that's okay. I was able to open it enough. Zip tie off, right into the garbage. There's our power cord for the fan. It's a power cord for that CPU. So this here is a Asus ROG Sabertooth P67. In its day, it was probably a great machine. I'm going to take out a couple of these screws that are holding in the PCI cards. Oh, I know you guys probably can't see that, but somebody has damaged the threads. Ooh, look at those cross threads. Those. Oh. Being able to get them out is one part of the equation. There's this USB 2.0 riser on there. Maybe I'll have to go online and see if I can get a USB 3 riser. Just to upgrade that a bit. Time to get that screwdriver in there. There we go. Oh, that's for sure cross-threaded. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty rough. Let's somebody was rough. Perfect. Okay. So let's just push on the little tabs here. And I'll eject the video card. I'm going to lift it by the back of the video card connector as well as the body. And then let me pull that out. Gigabyte GVN 750 OC. Well, I'm assuming that's AMD 750 GTX, maybe? I don't know. Someone want to chime in? I'll give that a little clean up because I plan on reusing this. It's like I said, it's not for gaming, but it is for our environment where you can have, 4 or 5 displays. Okay, and we'll pull out this little card here and we'll see what that is. There's some USB 3. Looks like a USB 3.0 expansion card. Imported. It's got a VLI, not to be confused with VIA, who makes really good chipsets. Who knows? Maybe we'll put that back in. Maybe we won't. Okay. So we walk across the bottom of the board. We've got pin header for the HD audio. This goes to the probably the ports on the front. And we've got this one. Like I don't know why people complain about connectors, because like they're clearly labeled USB. This one here is self-explanatory. USB 2, USB 2. Put that aside. This one here looks like a fan of some sort. Literally, it says CHA fan 2, so, well, you know that's the fan connector. And we break into the switches from the front of the panel. Let's just take a second to zoom in there. As you can see, not a problem. Each one has its own labels. I remember when we used to have to set jumpers on computers. That's a story for another year. And then we've got a bunch of SATA connections. Some of them have the tabs on them, which is good. Keeps them from getting pulled out. But you got to remember to press them when you pull them out, so not to damage the connector. Perfect. So I'm going to go back here to the power connector that I hadn't gotten off yet. We'll zoom back to that. Power connector down here. And I'm just going to feed the cord through the back of the case, just so that it's, you know, pulled out of the way. And we got up here at the front, fan control, or fan connector. Connector. And that's it. Next step here is I'm just going to take this whole thing out with all the RAM, with the CPU. I have nothing extra I need to do. I'll plug the CPU fan back in just so it doesn't get snagged on anything. This is going to go into the box the new motherboard's coming out of. And I am going to keep all the screws and the standoffs handy so that I can use it to secure the new motherboard. Back in the day, there used to be a lot of little insulating rings. I don't know, those little purple rings, and they kept the screws from shorting out or damaging the board. I find that nowadays a lot of these boards have the grounding exposed at the screw points, so you're bonding the board better to the chassis, which better grounding never hurt anybody. Okay, so the question is that all of them? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll lift up, and if it doesn't come smoothly, that'll tell us there's more screws. So I'm going to lift up the front. That way the interface board at the back doesn't get damaged. Yep, up, up, up. A little snug over here. Maybe that screw's not in all the way. Someone's going to tell me that there's a screw underneath some of this flashing that I haven't figured out. That's that. No, I think that's part of the chassis. Of course, the camera's a little bit in the way, so it makes life a little harder. Dun, 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 dun. There's something happening back here. Is it just stuck to the... something in here. There's nothing under this plate, is there? Well, let's take a look-see. Nope. There's nothing under there. Put it back down. I'll have to find the screw that went for a wild ride. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I've got a screwdriver with a bit of a magnetic tip, because I like to use my non-magnetized screwdriver for getting out screws around electronic components. But when they're recessed and down in there, it's really kind of hard to get them out. Okay, what do I have? Dun, 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 dun. Finding something magnetized is not easy in a shop where a guy tries to do everything he can to make sure that things aren't magnetized. Oh. No, it literally was just the angle. When in doubt, just be gentle. Okay. So I'm going to flip this over on my second bench over here just to collect the rest of those screws. Perfect. so I don't lose this screw, I will put it back. And I set this aside because, you know, it's still a perfectly good board. If you want a second gen Intel with 8 SATA ports on it, not bad. Okay, so what do I got going on here? Now I asked, because I don't do this that often, I asked the guy where I got the parts. I'm like, hey, have they changed any of these standoff points in the last, you know, decade? And he's like, no, they are all still in the exact same spot. I'm like, that's great. So all of those are a little loose. I'm going to give them a little bit of a twist with a pair of pliers. I do have a screwdriver for these, but that'll do. Okay. So there's the Gigabyte board that's going to go in there. But you know what we need to do before we go any further? So we need to... Oh, the panels are integrated now. Well, that's fun. Let's see what else is in the box. Okay. Wi-Fi antennas. SATA cables, a bag with a single screw, and a bag with a single screw again. Oh, look at that. Long since gone are the days where there's a driver CD and a bunch of jumpers and things like that. So that's cool. Put that to the side. Okay, and we got to take off the old panel. Push, push. The number of times that I had put a motherboard in and looked in the back and realized that this shroud wasn't installed, and you need to take the whole thing apart. Now, they've completely removed the need to do that, because the shroud's built in. I like that. Okay. So take that, lower it into position. Well, isn't that just perfect? Everything lines up where it should. Take a look at the back shroud side. Not quite a snug fit. But you know, if you line up your screw holes, you should be fine. Okay. Just a quick little, so you guys can see what I'm doing before. I said if everyone wants to step up and do some editing for me, here's some nice B-reel. Is that what they call it? You know what? Do I feel comfortable putting in that first screw? There we go. Now what I recommend is don't tighten the screws too much. Right? Just put them into hold position, because what you're going to do is once you know they're all in and they all line up, then you can go cross them all and torque them up. I say the same thing about laptop motherboards and things like that, because it's super important to make sure everything fits together before you go and start securing it in place. I know it's one extra trip around the block, but it's, you know, it saves a lot of headaches. It also makes things fit a whole lot truer. No. Who's screaming, if you had a magnetic screwdriver, you wouldn't have this problem? I'm sure someone's saying that. Probably saying it really loud, too. Okay, fine. Peanut Gallery wins. My internal monologue is going to have me adjust my camera and get a screw driver that is magnetized. I really don't have magnetized screwdrivers. Well, I found one. In the most unlikely of places. In one of my spare parts bins, there was a magnetized, well, semi-magnetized screwdriver. Now in this whole process, I dropped 2 screws. I know where the one is. I can see it and I can feel it. There we go. The other one bounced off my shirt, so I don't even know where it could be. Well, now I know. That's going to be some fun figuring out. I was once told that a screw drop from 4 feet has the potential energy to travel 12 feet in distance. So it could very well be 12 feet away. Okay, well, I'm going to leave this screw. That's going to get a little cluttered. I'll take this one out. I'm going to move this one down there. I'm going to leave this top right one out. And when I find that other screw, it will go there. And if for some odd reason I don't, I have many case screws, motherboard screws. So you know what? Let's just do it now, and I'll find the screw in the future. Case solved. Perfect. Does anyone wants to know? That's my case of screws. These are my unsorted small screws. I have sorted small screws. I also have sorted big screws. But if I know I've got many common unsorted small screws, I will just do that. I'm going around now, snugging up all the screws that I put in. Perfect. Look at that. So fancy. Okay. Do we all want to play the game of what's next? I feel that's primary NVMe. Really? Is that release over top of it? That seems like a bad design. Okay. You know what? I'd like to go back to my non-magnetistic screwdriver. That's not going to work because the head on this screw is smaller than the screwdriver I've had for 20 years that I've used on computers. Crazy. Okay, so I'm assuming that's the heat shroud for a NVMe drive. Oh, look at that. It even has a thermal pad on it. Fancy, fancy, fancy. And it's got a little standoff here to clip into the NVMe drive. Well, isn't that fun? I'm going to set this aside for right now. We'll put that back on when we get to that point of the show. So my next step is going to be plugging in the power connector back here. And I'm just going to feed this through again. And I'm going to clip in this 8-pin. It's almost like motherboard layouts haven't changed that much. And that makes me happy. Okay. Click. Look at that. Do something about tidying up that line. Look at that. Everything is so well labeled. Looks like we got lots of red, green, blue, 12 volt. Look at that. Everyone's about our RGB, eh? Good job. So this board has that NVMe slot. It's got two M2s. Like, I think we're laughing here. Just looking at this board. I pulled it out so quickly, and I didn't even think about it. M2 MSB, M2 MSB, M2A CPU. I might have to read up on that. Does someone want to tell me what the M2A CPU is? Like, is this dedicated memory? Uh-oh. It might be time for us to ask for directions. Installation guide. Step 1, install the CPU in the cooler. Perfect. Step 2, install the memory. Okay. Step 3, install the motherboard. That's not how I do things. Did I do this wrong? Should I have benched the whole thing, everybody? Ooh. Step 4, install the expansion cards. Step 5, install the power supply. Step 6, install the optical drive and the M2. And that looks like just one of those standard M2 slots. And then put all the step 7 pin headers. What? Step 6 is to connect the video. And then step 7 is to put the pin headers in. Ah, that's fairly interesting. Okay, well, I would like to know what this is for. Well, there's another manual. Book number 2. This is the regulatory notices. Well, sheesh. I don't know what that is. Let's go check out the box. 14th gen processor, LGA 17, a Z790, one PCI 4 times, HDMI, DisplayPort, dual channel, 4 DIMMs of RAM, 2 PCIe 3.0, SATA 3, 4 at SATA 3. So that's my SATA connections. Yep, there's 4 of them. And there's 3 M.2 Gen 4. Well, you know what? I'm going to put the hard drive in there. I don't care. Okay. Lights on fire. So be it. Even just take a look-see and see if it fits in there. I do want to say it is pretty cool that the board does support 3. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Spring loaded. Look at that. That's fancy. Okay. Zoom in. Perfect. Put this fancy little shroud back on. Oh, there's that problem. It bumped into that tab, so I have to kind of bring it in from the side and then put it in. And then I can screw it down into place. Man. And snug. Okay. Looks good. And I still got 2 more there. That's cool. Okay. Now the pièce de résistance, right, everybody? And supposedly, at the computer store, I was talking to the guy, and he's like, sometimes those CPU slots have damaged pins right out of the box. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, that's wild. So, next thing we got here is our i7-12700K compared to the i7-2700. This is great. It's a whole 10 better. Now, because I haven't done this in a while, I know that you have to look for the little arrowhead. There's a little arrowhead there. Oh, there's a little arrowhead there. And then you find the little arrowhead on the socket. I don't see the little arrowhead on the socket. I want to say it's that way. Oh, wait. There it is on the board. Clear as day. So that's the case. Looks good. Looks good. Oh, and the arrowhead's even on the little bracket that holds it down. Perfect. Now, I seen there was a little bit of debris on the top there. Use a clean little Q-tip. Take any of it off. Not too shabby. Next thing, Hyper 212 Spectrum V3. Quick little tidy up over here. Don't want to end up with too much stuff in the playfield. Okay, let's come over here. Take a look at that fancy fan. What do we got? Someone's going to tell me that this needed to go on the other underside of the board. Wah, wah, wah. Intel 1700. Oh, lots of pictures. It's like Legos these days. Look at that on the underside of the board. Well, that's a pain in the butt. Unless we can get at the underside of the board from the back of the case. I'm glad you guys watched it with me. I'm assuming that maybe if we ever get an edit of this. Nope. So that board's got to come out because I have to put it there and there. And I'm going to just pretend. Let's see if we can do a dry fit. So it's the plastic part that goes underneath. Okay. I don't know, people. What? What? They come with thermal paste now? Man, they think of everything. Master Gel Pro. I don't know. I've got some Arctic Silver 5 floating around that I would probably be using. But if it comes with Master Gel Pro, like, sheesh, why wouldn't I use it? Okay. So will this slide in? I don't like that. Like, that's steel. Like, it's going to scratch the underside of the board. Nope. Well, I got 4 screws, 6 screws, 9 screws that have probably got to come out. And I guess I should install this. Is this one of those situations where you read the manual because it doesn't turn you the wrong way? I do love all the pictures. Okay, well, you guys are here for this. Let's back ourselves up a couple steps. So for anybody watching this at home, if you haven't built a computer in the last 10 years, you need to make sure you put your heatsink on first. I'm also going to assume there might be a high number of faulty devices out there these days, so it's recommended that you bench test it first. Okay. Is this square? How does this thing go on? Okay, made that sure that lined up. This is fun. This is like new Lego. Now, if I let this go, is it gonna fall off? Like, how do the pros do it? Yeah, look at that. It slipped off. Okay, that's all in. That's all in. That's all in. I feel like a backboard would be like super good with this. Okay, that's just dumb. Fine. Okay, walk it in until it's good. Okay. Now, because not reading the manual has kicked my butt already, I put the putty on first. And then I fastened this together? Now I'm just confused. Like, I feel like I would really want to put the legs on it. Sorry, you guys can't see. I feel like I would really want to put the legs on it before I go and put on the thermal paste. Well, you know what? We're following the instructions today, people. That's good. That's good. That's all in place. Okay. Let's apply the thermal paste. We're not gonna use the Arctic Silver because I don't want to void the manufacturer's recommendations. Master Gel Pro. What the masters gel with. I like that. There you go. So the way I do it is I like to put an X and then I like to use a card and spread it to near the edges. Not to the edges, but near the edges. This is still kind of separated. And the thing is, once pressure's applied, it's going to spread out. I know that even from all those moons ago. Okay. So, following the instructions, I have put the paste on first. And if you guys want to inspect that, you probably didn't do a great job. It's all going to spread out. I think I did a good job. And warning, please peel off label before you use it. The important things you need to know. Okay. Perfect. Cool. Good enough. And then I'm going to fasten the brackets. So this is this where it requires me to know which ones I need? Well, we're going to do the 1700s. Okay, so it's the angled brackets are the ones that hold on the Intel 1700. Okay. So we will take this and we will go screw it side down. That'll go in there. Here's the screws. Just holding it up into position. I feel like a little bit of Loctite on that wouldn't be too bad to hold that screw, but that's not in the instructions. I'm not about ready to break instructions. Snug and snug. Oh, well, that's how you break things, everybody. What was that? Oh no, that was manufacturer. We're good. Done. Okay. So now got that in place. got those tied on, got those in place. Made sure the springies are done right. And we'll go to the last page of the picture. That says, put them in place, and when you tighten them, stagger. I'm okay with that. Okay. Is there a front side to this array? No arrows. Okay, let's go this way. Okay, and I'm going to treat this like setting a toilet. Set it on flat. And apply pressure right on the middle of the die. One. Two. Three. Four. And tight, and tight, tight, tight. Okay, she's not going nowhere. So it's saying to put the fan with the metal clips onto the heatsink. I'm okay with that. Look at this. RGB, look at that. RGB header. Cooking with fire. So if this is the case, we're going to look for the fan direction, which of course this one doesn't have. I also see rubber on both sides for dampening. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm just going to put it like this. And we will see. And we got the two little hooky things in there. Never done a hooky thing like this before, so we'll find out. I feel like that goes in between the fins, and that goes in between the fins, and this wraps in between the fins. And that wraps in between the fins. Is that really how it goes? I don't like that. That can't be how it goes. Is that all it does? Is it just pushes against the fins? No. What's on there? Oh, it wiggles off. Let's go back to the pictures, everybody. Oh, it goes at the front. And so traverses the whole body of the fan. Okay. So this does not go in the back set of holes. It goes in the front set of holes. I still don't think it's going to fit right, but okay. Not in the back set and the front set. Done. Done. And then it goes around the fins like that. It's definitely pressure fit. Let's drop it in there so you guys can see. Get in there, keep it square. Okay. So, remember that part of the show we were at about 10 minutes ago before we put the heatsink on? Well, we're back there again, everybody. Let's get back into action. I'm going to grab the spare parts from the fan. I'm going to keep this manual safe. Did a lot of good for me. That's not sarcasm. I do like the way that Cooler Master ensures they supply a bracket for both AMD and Intel. And they give a really nice big bag of silica. In case you don't want the aluminum to oxidize. Okay, back to the side. Take the fraction of a pea of thermal paste. Wow, really had to fight for that one. And pick up that fancy thing. Should I be testing it? I guess we'll throw caution to the wind and we'll test it when it goes in there. Ugh. Okay. I love all the extra cables. I'm going to redo some of this cable management. I don't like it. I have some better wire loom. I got some fun green stuff we'll put in there. We'll see how that all turns out. Okay. You guys remember back in the day when I was scoffed at the manual that said put the heatsink on first? Remember that? That was a great time. Okay. Back to the magnetized screw factory. Following the same procedure as before. Do not torque them. Do not make them too snug. Until they are all the way in around the board. That way, if there's any fine adjustments that we need to do, shimmying, shaking, we can do them. I made that one a little tougher, but hey, we do what we do. Now, looking at this motherboard, I'm a little happy that I put the main boot drive in before the heatsink, because it would have been more shimmying that little retainer heaty sink plate around the CPU cooler. And look at that. Every single one of them threaded in nicely. And since I'm on the last one, torque, torque, the one thing I can really say about these motherboards is you can see the advancements in technology and how many components they've been able to shrink. Because a lot of this stuff was like huge before, and now I see just these tiny little microcontrollers. Okay, well, since I'm in here, I'll plug in that power connector again. That one, you've been in there before, you know what it's like. Cool. And we're gonna go for the power supply, or the CPU fan, because if it's not running, you know that we're gonna have a problem. So we've got the CPU fan on the CPU fan. The reason why you use the CPU fan on the CPU fan is so that the motherboard knows how the fan speed is going, and it can ramp it up and ramp it down based off thermal requirements. And this is my optional CPU fan. It's a 3-pin. And I'm assuming if it's a 3-pin, it's going to go on the first 3 and not the 4th. There we go. Oh, can't forget the RGB lights. And it's 1, 2, space 1. This isn't going to work. This one only has 3 pins with a blocker on it. 3 pins and a blocker, but the header is red, green, blue, 12 volt. Now what's this GDV pin? Wouldn't it be nice if there was a, instructions in the manual? Let's go back to our super duper pictograph. I remember step 7 was plug the things in. Plug the things in. Detailed instructions. I might have to go there. We'll come back in the future. Cool. So we've got CPU, toss in some RAM. All right, next step, RAM, everybody. Here's our Fury. And DDR is normally matched bay 1, so we're going to go probably, we have to check, is it going to be black, or gray? Oh, the legend is now under the fan, so it's a little harder to see. It's A1, A2, B1, B2. So I'm going to go black and black. A1. Oh man, this is going to be tough. Maybe the guide should have said to put the RAM in before the fan. Huzzah! I'm looking at these cables and I'm like, I might want to route some of them under the board by lifting a screw. No problemo. Oh, I even got a Fury sticker. Look at that. Wow. One tiny little manual. Should I have read it first? Dang it. It's not happening. Okay, so I technically have everything I need to boot this up. The big question is, do I want to put in the old graphics card first or second? I could use a blast of air. Let's see if it boots. And if it does, then we will take it from there. So I'm going to install the 24 pin. No, I gotta get rid of that. Get rid of that zip tie. Give me a little bit more length on that. And we also have to figure out the switches on the motherboard. Oh, well, this is fun. I'm going to spin this around. We can play with this a little closer to us. You know what? It looks like I am going to need... Oh, no. It's all right in there. Good. So it's like, I'm going to need to go online for the manual. The answer is no. But I will need to bring in my super fancy headlamp. Okay, so where are the pins? So I'm going to just move all that stuff out of the way. And we'll take these guys. Okay, so that's the whole pack of them. So the reset switch, you guys can see that, good. Reset switch is going to go number 2 and number 3. Or sorry, number 3 and number 4. And the hard drive light is going to go number 1 and number 2. And next one I have is the power switch. And the power switch is going to go number 3 and number 4 on the top. And the power LED is going to go number 1 and number 2. Now remember, you have to do the polarity. Power LED plus and power LED minus. And based on this board, pin 1 is plus, pin 2 is minus. If you're working across the top there. One and 2. And I think we're good. That was easy. People complain about that all the time. Okay. So, next step. I don't have an HDMI cable on this monitor because the last thing I tested was a old display port. Yes, 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 I know, make fun, make fun. Interesting. Well, you know what? Since I'm in here, let's just put the rest of these headers in place. I'm going to think where I have a HDMI cable. I know exactly where I have an HDMI cable. Well, that was easy. Okay. USB. I assume there is almost always in a USB, there's almost always a notch. Can you see? A notch in that's blocked off to make sure that you don't put it in the wrong way. So if it doesn't want to go the first way, don't force it. And I'm going to go over here, HD audio. The HD audio also has a little notch or a blocked spot in it, so it can only go in one way. HD audio. Oh, you guys can't even see. Let's go back to 1. HD audio has a little block spot in it too. So that goes there. And this is the audio. Oh, it's AC97 audio. I am going to... I'm just going to leave it on the HD audio. I'm assuming there's some sort of relevant connection for AC97. But, yeah, tuck that out of the way. Okay. I think that's it for all of the fun connectors. That was easy. I had a lot of SATA to pull out of the way because the plan is to have one SATA drive in there. We've got a lot of USB 3.2 headers up there too. Look at that. That might be where I need to connect a back plane if I put one in. Okay. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to run and grab a HDMI cable. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I got a cable. I'm going to try this bad boy out. We're going to pretend that you guys can see the screen. If you could, great. It's not turning on. But of course, power supply. It was off. For safety. Okay, power supply is going on now. Everybody, plug your nose in case something blows up. Power supply is on. Is there a little power indicator on the motherboard? Nope. So that 24-pin connector's not in. Power off. Never plug or unplug things while the vehicle is in motion. Okay. So, 24-pin connector. Engaged. Okay, power supply on. Back to the nose plugging. It's on. I see no little lights. I smell no fire. So, let's push the power and see how it goes. Whoa! We got some RGB, we got some fans. Let's see if we get a post. I don't know if the monitor's trying to turn on. Oh, I have my picture engaging. And I see... Well, you know what? Let's just go for a tour, everybody. So, the motherboard turned on. Gigabyte. It gave some recommendations. It was saying, current, I've installed one in A and one in B. Recommended modules in dual channel is B and B. Memory were found not running in the optimized performance. Please follow the recommended module locations to reinstall your modules. Well, I'm going to disable that, and I'm going to go A2 and B2. Okay. So, everybody, things are running. I'm going to push the power button again to turn her off. Give her a couple seconds. Now, I'm going to turn off the power supply. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to go and reset the RAM. So we're going to go from B1 to B2. And close that, and then we'll open up A2. We'll bring that out. And we'll go I love it when it's a little too snug. I don't like that. I think there is something going on. In that RAM slot. Oh, for sure there is. There's a chunk of plastic in there. You see that? I guess there's a chunk of plastic in both of them. But that one's more prominent. Well, maybe it's just the tooth. Okay, well, we'll try one more time. Like, RAM shouldn't be that hard to go in. That's not right. Okay, well, it's in there. Let's see if the motherboard sees both of them. Power supply on. Count to 3. Screen's turning on. Oh yeah, it went right into the BIOS. Let's take a look together, everybody. CPU frequency 4.7 gigahertz with a temp of 25. Memory frequency 2400. The CPU fan's rocking some 3.9. Oh, it's going fine. Things just warming up. So, detected the processor. I7-12700K, 32 gigs of RAM. We got some Kingston and A2 and B2. Guess the big thing is to load backwards. If this is a known thing, definitely comment on it. So, I don't know how much more you guys want to see, but I am now going to tidy up the drives and get things put in there, and then we'll do an install of Windows 11. That's all she wrote. Appreciate everybody watching me put that in there. Okay, so let's continue with the wire cleanup. Okay, you know what? Put a spotlight on this, and it looks a whole lot different. Okay. So one SATA cable that we're really going to need, and it's probably never going to get used, is the optical drive. And we've got all these disconnected from the main board and from the discs. Give them a little wipe down. Decades of work dust. So our top caddy is a SanDisk Ultra solid state drive. 1 terabyte, 960 gigs. So I feel like what we're going to do is we're going to replace this one with our Western Digital. So we got to get these 4 screws out. Back to our screwdriver. Oh, someone cheated. Look, these big fat washers to kind of hold it in place. Oh, I don't even need to take them off. I just need to loosen them. Ta-da-da! Shows you that this caddy was built before people started thinking about 2.5-inch drives in desktops. Now they do make brackets. I get that. I know. We could have went another SSD, but an 8 terabyte SSD, like, they're out now. But they're very expensive. Whereas, 8 terabyte traditional spindle-based drive, much more cost-effective. So weird. You'd think they'd just fit in the screw holes, but no. Weird. Okay. A little bit of elbow grease gets them in there. Perfect. That's not going anywhere. I don't know why they don't go all the way in. That's weird. Let's figure out what's going on here. There's no Well, that's just a pain in the butt. They don't go in the little screw holes. Threads are too big. And they're not threaded. That was a bad idea 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Well, time to bust out some screws. Back to the bin. I know I have hard drive screws in here. Hard drive screws, like they're going out of style. Right. Take this little bit out. Okay, well that works. Do the same thing for the other front one. I'll peel out the little rubbery thing. Like I'm waiting for it to go crack pop. That one went in. That one also went in. Okay, that's weird. Ha ha ha, even with the head of the screw there too. Well, if that's the case, let's look for a little bit of flex. Who put this in here? That's weird. Getting bound up on everything. Okay, well, I gotta tighten that down so it'll fit through the hole. Okay. So it is in the top one. Done. I don't know what I'm going to do with these little studs. But guess what? They're going in my little screw bin. Easy peasy. Okay. So what's going to happen with these is after we get the system booted up, loaded up with Windows, partition the 8 TB drive, maybe we'll even partition into some smaller ones, I don't know, is we're going to copy this data onto that secondary drive. so that it can be accessed. But to keep with the genuine originality, and for, you know, not being those guys that take all of the brackets, caddies out, I am going to just remove the discs from them. Oh, it's a 4 terabyte. You know what? Let's leave that one in there. I feel like that's a reasonable piece of extra storage. And I might as well keep them spaced out so that there's some airflow between them. So we've now got primary 8 terabyte. We've got this 2 terabyter. You know what? We should just leave him in there too. Like, I don't even know. I'm sure he'll appreciate it if we leave them in there. This one also had some problem with the studs going in it. Okay. So we've got the CD-ROM drive, the 8 terabyte, the 4 terabyte, and the 2 terabyte. Okay. Those are all in there. Yada, yada, yada. So, what do we got going on here? What is this for? We don't need that. Okay. So, SATA. Is my head in the way? I don't know. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we're going to go SATA 4. Is the optical drive. SATA 5. Maybe there's a better one. This is a nicer one. Let's go with the all black one. SATA 5 can be the 8 terabyte. And SATA 6 can be the 4 terabyte. This one here is a front-mounted SATA port. So I'll just pull that out to the side and we'll clean that up. And we'll go this black one, SATA 3 can be the 2 terabyte. Okay, 4, 3, 2. Good, good, good. Now we have to take a look at the power connectors. You guys get to watch from the back side. So we're going to keep cable management tight. I want to keep the cords close to the bottom as possible, and then travel up the inside. So do we have, that is all the power connectors. Good. Good. So we're going to go here. Oh, there is another power rail right there. That's already feeding the CD-ROM drive. Okay, so we're going to go. I don't like that coil on that. Let's take that off. Let's give this kind of a I want it to go. You know, let's have it go to the back. There, then I can bundle that up. Tight, tight, tight. Some mini zip ties up the back. Yeah, that'll look better. What else do I have back there? Do I have any other wires I want to deal with? I'll put some, stow those down underneath. Those are going to go below my hard drives. Like that. And I'm sure there's going to be some great wire management people out there that are just yelling and screaming at me. And I appreciate the feedback. So that's what I'm feeling. Okay, I got some fancy wire loom. And watch you going behind. Let's get a couple zip ties on that. How do you guys feel about orange, black, orange, black? And we'll go black. Black's more traditional. Okay. Let's have some fun with this green stuff. You know what? I don't think I want to have fun with that green stuff. I think I want to slap a couple oranges back there. Now, I'm not saying that I wasn't compelled by my brand identity to use orange, but orange is a color I like. We can go right here. Is this going to look like Homer Simpson's back? I don't know. I don't have a good feeling. So I think we're doing good on all of that. My last bit is going to be some green stuff. I like the green stuff. Ooh, what do we do here? Wiggle that up a bit. There we go. Okay, well, I'm about done here. I think the big question is, what does everybody think? Thanks for watching. Next part is going to be operating systems and fun stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't think that's anything entertaining to watch. Comment if you would be interested in seeing operating system stuff. Otherwise, I wish you guys all a wonderful day, and thanks for watching me turn this 10-year-old tower into something a little more modern with a few bumps along the way. Hey, thanks for watching. Have a great day.